Okay, so that's great. Actually, in my curriculum for today, number one was bracha, number two was update on Cindy. So we went in the reverse order, but I mean,
You got it done.
that's acceptable. Welcome home. And we're going to give you a week or two to review what you missed last week, and then you're going to be tested. Okay, great. Just to go over the calendar, what a calendar. November 1st, Israel elections. November 1st. That's this Tuesday. November 2nd, the first current events group meeting online, our class. We're going to meet every other week, and we're going to meet until there's no longer any interesting news. So that's a pretty long commitment. November 2nd at noon, Facebook, whatever, of Zoom, first current events group. The second one, first is November 2nd, and the second one is November 16th. And I'm playing alteration with Susan Nannis. Susan teaches a course Wednesday at noon. Next week I do, next week she does, and that's what we're doing. November 8th is the American elections. By the way, in the current events group, which is what we did last year, everyone's opinion is on the table. No one has to hide it. Even the moderator will have an opinion. I bet that shocks you. On the other hand, we do have very strict rules that we are absolutely not allowed to personally attack or insult anybody else. You cannot say to somebody, that is so stupid. Rather, you can say, may I respectfully disagree with your ignorant presentation. It's something that doesn't, that doesn't offend people. We do have rules, and it worked last year. November 24th is Thanksgiving. So that's calendar-wise. What do we have, Jim, in terms of film?
Nothing announced yet, but a week from tonight, we'll have a film for sure to discuss.
Super, a week from tonight. Yeah. And Cindy, will you or your surrogate tell us what's up with sisterhood?
Kind of quiet. I was busy last week. We're working on a fun Hanukkah party, a pre-Hanukkah party with maybe a cocktail hour and entertainment and just a fun social get together. It'll be at Irma's campus, probably one of the Saturdays in December. It's a work in progress right now.
Super. Excellent. Thank you very much. So anything else on calendar? Okay, nothing else on calendar. Then checking in. We've had a happy checking in and a bench gomo with Cindy. Is there any other checking in? Things happening? Ray.
Thank you. And I'm checking in with a not immediately personal thing, but I'm going to boldly share a little bit from my East Coast Synagogue identification and put in a little plug for us as well, which I think matters. Some of you will recall that I'm a little bi-coastal, and so at my East Coast synagogue, I'm a member of our Chevra Kaddish, which takes care of the deceased in our community and prepares them for burial. And we had, sadly, another loss in our community this week. Our Tahara group came together and mobilized to take care of our departing member, someone in our community, much beloved, and a Holocaust survivor. That's another story. But what I did want to say is that this is really beautiful, powerful, and I have come to think essential work. And I have learned in my years doing this with this special group of people that it absolutely is a great fit for our liberal Judaism. And I encourage Wilshire Boulevard members who have been thinking anything along these themes, or anyone else on this call who is in a non-Orthodox community like ours, to think outside the box we're used to thinking about, and think about introducing this in your community. It can start with some conversations, but this is meaningful, loving work, and there is no reason to go by old assumptions that it's something that belongs to the Orthodox. It belongs to you also. It belongs to all of us. And I encourage all my friends at Wilshire and everywhere else, if this is not yet part of your community, really think about it, because it is one of the most beautiful things a community can give. That's my soapbox.
Thank you very, very much. I think that's a great idea. When next I speak with Donna Nadell, oops, there she is, the executive director of Wilshire, it's a conversation worthy of holding. Donna, has there ever been a Chevra Kadisha at Wilshire?
I don't know the answer to that, because I've only been here for the past 24 years. So I would doubt it, but I don't know. It's something we can discuss for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ray. It is a beautiful thing. Okay. Diane Mandel.
Yes. Yesterday I went on a tour. What used to be University Synagogue is now the Resnick. I went on with Rabbi Shapiro. He invites anybody that wants to go on a tour to send him an email. It's torn to pieces. All the walls are gone. He did show me what's going to be where and how and what. And it's a very interesting tour. And he plans to have it open for high holidays next year. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's the plan. And the children's area is going to be huge, and the access to parking is going to be changed. So it was interesting, and I enjoyed going.
Super. Thank you very, very much. Let's see. Do we have any more hands up? There was one. Oh, Merle?
I was just going to say, I've been at Wilshire since I was 6, and I'm 73, and I've been through 4 deaths, both of my grandparents and my parents, and I don't recall an offering of a Chevra Kadisha in any situation.
Okay. I mean, it is.
I'm just saying, I'm not disappointed or anything. It's not something I personally ever thought about. It also wasn't offered here in Phoenix.
Yeah, I started a Chevra Kadisha in Atlanta, and that's maybe 12, 14 years ago, and it's still running. It just
That's fabulous.
It became something which really attracted people. That's fine.
Can you please explain to me what a Chevra Kadisha is, please, Rabbi?
Okay, the Chevra Kadisha, very simply, Chevra, like in Chevra Torah, is a group or an association. Kadisha, Kadosh, it's a holy community. And their job, very simply, without spending a lot of time now, but certainly Google that as well, their job is to prepare the body ritually for burial. That means washing it, that means protecting it, saying several prayers in appropriate situations. According to the Talmud, one of the greatest things you can do is to care for the deceased, because it's the kind of a caring which brings you no return. The deceased can do nothing for you. It is an act of gemilut chesed. It's an act of doing something with no hope of return benefit.
That's very sacred.
Halvayat Hamet, it's called, and it's accompanying the dead. And it's a very important thing. People start off being squeamish day one, and then properly trained. And of course, great respect is shown to the body. Women do women, men do men, great respect to the body. But it's something to be discussed, and I'm glad it's on the table, and we'll
I think we should do it. I think it's
wait.
yeah.
Actually, though we are the most important study group in all of the Wilshire Boulevard community, says he,
Mhm.
we actually don't have decision-making power for the
Oh.
congregation, but it's going to go forward, and that I'm assured and I feel good about. First, Eric, then Howard. Eric, you're muted. Eric.
How you doing?
Good.
I'm a solo ager. Almost the last of my family. I'm the baby. So there's a lot of solo agers like that who I fortunately have my trust doing it for me, but some people who don't have people to have buried them have to have a person to bury them with their solo agers, no family. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. It's a very interesting phrase, solo ager. I've never heard that before. I understand what it means. I understand.
Well, solo ager, I'm a solo ager myself, and luckily my family agreed to be my trustees. But no one wants to do my will or trust or anything like that, they're a solo ager. And if they get incapacitated or injured, needing medical help or decisions where to go, they have nobody but themselves. And if they're incapacitated, they can't do the decisions. And I got a little scared when my father went into Alzheimer's, so I had to do the necessary, and it was quite exhausting. So I hope I'm healthy until the God gets me, but I just needed somebody to bury me and get the headstone. I have my grave already picked out in Fairlawn, New Jersey. Thank you.
Say, Eric, New Jersey? You're gonna get
Yes, Fairlawn, New Jersey is my burial place.
Okay.
I'm in New York, so it's about half hour from the George Washington Bridge.
Howard?
Okay, just on the same subject of things Wilshire Boulevard doesn't do. I checked into, according to Rabbi Nanas, the concept of a second bar mitzvah ceremony. She thinks has never been done at Wilshire Boulevard Temple, although she was very impressed with Rabbi Ashkenazi and your ceremony, which was held at another synagogue.
I don't know whether it's ever been done or not, but I can tell you, Howard, it's a great occasion to marshal whatever waning energies you have. Try to focus on that. So
she said that she hasn't seen it. I think she said she's been with us for 9 years.
Oh, okay, super. Yeah, we had fun. Is there anything else? Anything else? And not seeing any other hands, I am now going to do. Risa, you can turn off the sound because I'm not allowed to sing in her presence. And Noah, he built him. Arky, Noah, he built him. He built him, and Arky built him.
Hickory, barky, of the Lord.
Okay, and then to move into dark humor, why were the animals in the ark unable to play cards?
Nobody taught them. They couldn't get on the deck.
Noah was sitting on the deck. Yes. Okay. So now that we have gotten a proper liturgical introduction into Noah, this Sedra is actually, first of all, hello to everybody. I didn't go through the list, but it's so wonderful to see you. This is a very strange Sedra. Why is it strange? And the rabbis responded to it that way also. There is a little bit of law here, a little bit of mitzvah. I've said this before. What set of laws will be found, mitzvot, will be found inside the Sedra of Noah? Anyone know?
The Noah laws.
Yes, the 7 laws of Noah, the Noahide laws, And I didn't save the page, but I think I can find it. It's almost worth taking a quick eyeball at the 7 laws which Judaism believes is obligatory upon everybody, not just Jews. You know, we have a complete system that the mitzvot are ours, and non-Jews are not losing credit if they don't observe Shabbat, right? It's not on them to do Shabbat. But the 7 laws of Noah are considered to be obligatory on everyone. And if anyone can help me.
Verse
quick-
9, verse 9.
First time, what chapter?
To get the 7 Noahide laws, it's after the flood.
Can you
And-
give us some numbers there, Rabbi?
Pardon?
Can you tell us where to find it in the Torah?
He's-
I will.
He's looking for it.
Looking for it.
I will when I find it.
Verse 9.
Okay.
Verse 9, what chapter?
What chapter?
Chapter 9, verse 1 through 19.
Okay, verse
In Genesis?
Okay. Let's see. I'm not finding it yet, just because I'm going blind. Okay, the 7 laws of Noah include establishing courts, don't tear flesh from a living animal, no adultery, no murder. Okay, there are also 3 others. These are the things which everyone is expected to do throughout the world. And Jews have always believed that. And also idolatry is forbidden and so forth. I'll find it. So besides that, there's so much mythology in the book, in the chapters of Noah, that the rabbis knew it even though they didn't say it. They were facing the story of Noah and the flood and the animals and all who died. Let's look at chapter 7, verse 21. Chapter 7, I'll give you pages. Chapter 7, verse 21. And in chapter 7, verse 21, we're at chapter 10. In chapter 7, verse 21, we have 7:21 and 7:22. We have a very interesting problem. Here's the problem. There's a flood, and all the animals died. Okay? It says, verse 21, I'm on page 61 in the New Plout. Then all the flesh that swarmed upon the earth perished, bird, cattle, wild animals, whatever, everything that had breath on dry land, human beast, reptile, birds, they were wiped out. What category was not wiped out?
Fish.
Fish. Okay?
Amphibians.
Fish. So, maybe that is the origin of gefilte fish as being the significant part of the Jewish cultural experience. Fish are not wiped out. Rashi, and I'm trying to explain, the rabbis played with this. They knew they were dealing with something which may not be exactly literally historical. What happened to the fish? Rashi asks. Rashi, was a lot of important things to think about. What happened to the fish? They all fled to the Mediterranean, and the Mediterranean was not affected. Do you feel better knowing that?
Is that true?
Rashi, who solves the great problems of Jewish law, put all the fish from Eretz Israel into the Mediterranean where they were protected. And that's a beautiful thing. Later on, they're going to ask. You remember the image of the Yonah, the dove that goes out. The second bird to go out, first one that goes out is the raven. The Yonah goes out. The dove goes out. And what does the dove come back with? Second time. What is the?
Some leaves.
Tamara mouth olive branch. Yeah,
Branch.
that's a problem.
Oh,
Why did Rashi see that as a problem? All trees were destroyed.
Oh.
All living matter, according to the rabbis, not only did all the other people die, and please don't be upset about this, but they died and their bodies disintegrated. There's a big deal in the rabbinic literature. It's like they dissolved. Not only did they die, but all the bodies were eliminated. Not only did the trees die, it wasn't that the earth was filled with floating trees, they dissolved. How did the dove find an olive branch? I'm sure this is something which bothered you Jewishly for decades. And the answer the rabbis give, again, to help you understand that the rabbis approach this with a smile. They did. We think we're so superior. I read the rabbis as kind of like, guess what, folks? Here's the rabbi's question. Do you think that God would have flooded the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem?
No.
Ooh.
Chas v'shalom. Can you see the smile? They wrote it. God forbid that the Mount of Olives should be flooded. So the Mount of Olives was not flooded. The dove made a dove line directly to the Mount of Olives and picked up a branch from the olive tree, and that's where the olive branch came from. So these are things which probably have bothered you for decades. And now you have the answer. Let's look at chapter 7 again, verse 23. Chapter 7, 23. God wiped out all that existed on the face of the earth. They were wiped off the earth. Only Noah and those with him in the ark survived.
wow.
Yeah, Howard. Or you're looking at J. Crum. I can see that you're looking at J. Crum, Howard. Are you not?
I am looking at Jake.
Is it there? Okay, I can tell by looking through the camera what book you're looking at.
Howard, you're muted.
J. Crum, which is the fabulous graphic novel of the book of Genesis. Go ahead, please.
So, looking at the actual text, though, I'm confused. It does say everything that exists. He wiped out all existing things. Otherwise, if you take 22 and 23 together, for example, 23 goes on man and cattle and creeping thing and fowl. They were blotted out, and Noah only was left. So it says everything that exists, but really it seems to be only talking about animals.
Well, it's talk. No, God wiped out verse 23.
Yeah.
The Hebrew me Adam, and Adam, in Hebrew it's obviously Adam, but it's used in Hebrew to signify humankind.
Yeah, from man, cattle, creeping thing, fowl, they were blotted
Right.
out. But
Right.
it doesn't
Of
say
course.
trees. It doesn't say it doesn't say trees or vegetables or anything like that.
Okay,
Fungi.
okay. I certainly agree with you, doesn't there, but it does, the rabbinic commentaries are certain that all of everything is wiped out.
But that's really a leap going from the text to that they may have made that a leap, but it's certainly a strong hint. It says everything that exists. But then if they really were serious about it, they would say everything that exists from man to, creeping things and plants and fungi and bacteria, would have said everything.
Oh, I don't know if they knew about fungi, but yes, okay.
They knew about plants.
And if only in certain kinds of space dramas would you have the two trees, male and female, walking onto the ark. So, yeah. Howard, I'm trying kind of to say that the rabbis took this a little lightly. Ibn Ezra, for example, tried to understand what does it mean to be utterly wiped out. Ibn Ezra says, and this is serious, to be utterly wiped out means to have no descendants. And those of us who still connect, and I hope it's all of us, but those of us who still connect to the Holocaust, we must never permit those who died to die without descendants. We are their descendants. We have children, we build the family, we build the community. So it's a mitzvah that way. To die without descendants is, in the eyes of the rabbis, a horrible fate. The only thing worse than that is something they also brought in here. The rabbis said, none of the people who were killed at the time of the flood have a place in the world to come. That's a very serious thing. So on the one hand, no physical descendants. On the other hand, no eternal life, which the rabbis believed in, which the people during the biblical period, I think would be fair to say, didn't have much to say about it. Okay. A question about that, because I want to move on to some other fun things here. I see Ray, a hand up.
Thank you. And I have a reaction also to this notion of the destruction of creation, and then the enigma of, okay, where did the olive branch come from? But also about the nature, as I feel like I experience of it, of redemption and of coming back and all kinds of teshuvah from our missteps. And I submit, and I can think of at least one or two people on this call who will disagree, that part of our being created in God's image is our being created with our infallibility and opportunity for reconsideration when we don't get everything exactly right the first time. I will.
Ray,
Yes.
hold there, because
Yes.
I want to push a little bit. The rabbis make comparison with Abraham and Noah. Okay? I mean, you're saying, I'm seeing heads shaking up and down. You got it. Now, in the time when God indicated the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, what did Abraham negotiate? What did he say to God?
If I can find 10 righteous versus 1.
Well, I mean, he started with 50. It's the marketplace. You start high, you get down to your core number. What if they're 50? What if they're 40? What if they're 30? Noah watched the destruction, if you will, Ray, indiscriminate destruction of all humanity, with the exception of the people on the ark, without saying to God, you mean out of all of that mess of humankind, they're not 50, they're not 40, they're not 30 worthy of being saved. If you are indicating that the theodicy of Noah and the theodicy of Abraham are dramatically different, okay? And it helps me happily say, myth, myth, myth. This is just broad stroke myth. They were not creating theodicy here. They were telling a story. Everybody got killed. Well, Abraham wouldn't have liked that approach. There's so much. I see hands. I see Risa, Fern, and Sukasa, and Eric. Risa, Fern, Sukasa, Eric.
I put in the chat that according to Dr. Google, the 7 laws of Noah are only found in the Babylonian Talmud, not in this text. I don't know if you.
Google is wrong.
Okay, because I don't see it here. And the story of the descendants made me think of what went on in the displaced person camps and the DP camps, where there was such a high rate of birth.
Super. Absolutely. It is one of the things that happened. Absolutely. There was a huge spike in births from the DP camps. Yes. Fern.
I was just wondering, in terms of being left without descendants, if it's looked at individually or communally. In other words, there are those whose descendants are wiped out. Is that somehow communally remedied by enlarging the Jewish population, as opposed to those who cannot or will not enlarge it themselves?
One of the reasons why I love you, Fern, every once in a while you ask a question I can answer.
I was trying for when you couldn't, but okay.
Okay, I mean, but I mean, this is an important part of our community. The rabbis expand the notion of family. So, for example, it is a clear statement that a rabbi teaching children is a father to those children. Okay, it goes broader than that, but the point is explicitly made that family is larger than those genetically connected.
It's particularly interesting to me because, as a child of Holocaust survivors who had almost no other family, we created family of very close people, and that was extremely significant in the community of survivors that I grew up in. My parents also were in DP camp, and it was super significant that we adopt each other.
Beautiful. And
So beautiful.
They created Landsmannschaft. I don't even know exactly how to translate that, but a community of people from the same geographic area, Landsmannschaft, and that was part of that as well. That we are the survivors, we are the community. We may have no biological children, grandchildren, whatever, but we are family. And that's really an important thing. Also something which I was able to answer, which is good. Sue Costa.
I have a difficulty with the idea that Abraham was so wonderful because he negotiated for righteous people in Sodom and Gomorrah. When you contrast that with the fact that he was willing to sacrifice his son, and it was the angel that stopped him. So why does Abraham get all this good credit and poor old Noah, who followed what God said, just like Abraham was willing to do with the sacrifice of Isaac? Why does that happen?
Okay, so we're going to form a new Jewish organization, thank God, because someone is always anxious to be chairperson of a new organization. We're going to call it the Noah Defense League. And we're going to, sure, you're right. by the way, Abraham's moral deficiencies included his abuse of the status of his wife.
Oh, yeah, totally. Why we picked him as a patriarch is beyond me, but that's another discussion.
I'm sorry, Sukasa. This designation about patriarch was made by an objective committee of people broadly invested in protecting the rights of men. So, okay, so we can go with that. But yes, you're right. Abraham, I mean, the selection of the patriarchs is again part of the mythological structure in the book of Genesis to create a back history for the Israelites in Egypt and the story that flowed. Now, yeah, you look at Isaac. I mean, there are plenty of people in Jewish history who did more for us than Isaac did. Isaac's major role is to be a link between Abraham and Jacob. Cool. I mean, all right, fine. But you're right. Noah was flawed. Abraham was flawed. Moses was flawed. Aaron was flawed. Miriam was flawed. What are we saying here?
Everybody's flawed.
They're human.
Okay, I think that's an important finding. I think it's an important find. Miriam gossiped. Aaron with the golden calf, God only knows. Now, everyone had a thing. And that leaves room for Sukasa. That leaves room for Sukkah. You can reach because the model isn't perfection, even though you're perfect, Sue. But
No, don't depend on me, guys. I'm not.
okay, but you understand what I'm saying? You're totally correct. If we had to do the scales of justice on these people, whatever. I mean, other than my wife, I know of no perfect person.
Oh, isn't that sweet? Oh,
Hey,
Not true.
that's called
yes, it is.
survival statement. Okay, now, okay, so we go on. We did Sukasa. I keep forgetting Eric.
Yes, hello. This is very funny to me because I got a new computer and I had all my pictures and everything on a backup drive. No, God was backing up his software by having the arc, and also for the movie fans, they had When Worlds Collide, and Titan AE was based on the Noah story.
Yes, yeah. Oh,
You know, you ever see the Worlds Collide movie? And the book by, I don't remember the author, but it was called When Worlds Collide. And also Sky Captain also had little ties of Noah too. So I see a lot of humor and how they arrived at and oh, wait a minute, there's a new Broadway show coming called Some Like It Hot. And the last line was of the movie, Some Like It Hot, say, no one's perfect.
Yeah, I don't like the making movies that I will remember forever in my head. Some Like It Hot. Give me a break. It's a perfect movie. Okay, Donna?
I was just going to say, when you were talking, when Fern was talking about family and recreating and adopting one another, that's exactly how I feel, that this temple has adopted me, and I just love all you. That's all I got to say.
Okay, you can put that in the bulletin. We got that. That's a great thing. By the way, I have heard, I'm not going to go into specifics. I have heard people say that in times of distress, the support system from Wilshire worked. Okay. I got it in phone calls to me, reporting to me, Donna, without names. It's there. And it's a very good feeling. People were responded to, And some of the people from the university background were worried whether they would ever fit into the niche. And the answer is yes. And
Rabbi, can I say one more thing I want prayer for, please? I'll ask for prayer. That Schmuck Canine West was fired by Mr. Lovett from CAA, who I met. Rabbi had me meet him. Says, turn around, meet your neighbors at Yom Kippur. I met Mr. Lovett, who's president of CAA, and I'm going to be meeting him. And I don't know what to say or do, but Rabbi Leader is going to give me some advice. So everybody pray that I get a break, because that would be so wonderful. Then I could buy a house over there where you and Risa live. We could all have dinner together.
okay, I thank you for that. We're going to go on. There is an expression in the Sedra, and the expression in the Sedra is talking about how did it work on the ark? Didn't that worry you? You think about it. Okay, Risa, what did you find?
9-1-7 is the code.
Wait a second. Weren't you the one who said to me?
Yes, I fixed it.
No, you said it wasn't there. I said it was. Who was right? Risa?
I followed your ruling. I found it.
I accept that. Okay. Thank you. 9-1-7, is that what you said?
Yeah.
That's the Noahide.
That's the
There's
presentation.
another thing, but the rabbis worried what went on in the ark. Okay, how did things go on the ark? There is a 2-word phrase in talking about Noah. The rabbis read the phrase Ach Noach. And they read it with a Yiddish accent, which is hilarious. Let me be clear to you, Yiddish was not spoken in the biblical period. Clear? Okay. It says, Ach Noach. If you take the Yiddish way of using Ach and the German way of using Ach, what do you get?
Oi.
Pardon?
Oi.
Oi. So when it says Ach Noach, this is what the rabbi said. Noah was so overburdened by caring for the animals that he got sick on the ark. Please don't look in the text. Ach Noach. Oh, oi, Noah. Can you imagine what it was like being on the ark? He had to clean up and to feed. He was so sick, one of the rabbis said, he was coughing up blood. Now, I ask you, if you can find in Google or any place else a proof text that Noah was coughing up blood, good. It's not there. The rabbis, Noah was coughing up blood. Also, in case any, weren't you worried that there were violent animals on the ark? Right? It wasn't all, fun and games. Guess what? Noah was late in feeding the lions and one of them bit him. How do I know that? I read the rabbinic commentaries. And there it is. Okay? So Noah was bitten by an animal. He was also spitting up blood. It's difficult being Noah. Don't think it was an easy thing. It was difficult being Noah. Ibn Ezra, every once in a while, hold on to this. Every once in a while, Ibn Ezra puts in a parenthetical phrase which lets us know that things aren't the way they are literally written. He will say, for example, this is a secret matter. Or I have explained elsewhere that this matter is not to be discussed. When it came to the story of the flood and of Noah, This is what he wrote. This text proves how wrong are some of our ignorant brethren who maintain that the flood did not cover the entire earth. Do you hear that? What's Ibn Ezra saying? You didn't have to wait to the Haskalah, to the Enlightenment period, for someone to say, hey, folks, mythology. Hey, folks, not literally true. In the days of Ibn Ezra, in the Middle Ages, Jews were saying, give me a break. This isn't literally true. Ibn Ezra says this answers the ignorant. But he put it into his commentary. What does that tell you about Ibn Ezra? What's it telling you? I know that there's some serious problems here, but that's okay. They're ignorant. God's truth prevails. What? Oh my God. Okay. Risa, who is my beloved friend and teacher, brought to me the Women's Torah commentary and pointed out in the Women's Torah commentary, page 35, there is an essay by Tamara Ashkenazi.
All about the home.
All about Noah, the flood. And if you want to connect with Tamara and the B'nai Mitzvah we celebrated, she mentions here Tehom, Tiamat, and the depth that we were talking about at the B'nai Mitzvah. So Tamara, you're here in your book, and thank you. I think that's great. I did not grab this. Noah, the Ark, and Tamara Ashkenazi in the Women's Torah commentary. Okay, I'm impressed. You didn't find anything by me, did you? No, no, you didn't. Okay, we're gonna have to end. To let you know that the Sedra is a playground. And no, you are not expected to take it literally. It's a wonderful Sedra. If you want to read something interesting, read some other rabbinic commentaries trying to estimate how much water it would take to float the ark. They were doing mathematical computations trying to figure out the size and displacement of the ark with the animals and how much water it would take to lift it. There's that. And they, for the environmentalists among us, if you go to verse 8:1, just a simple one, 8:1, 8:1 here, 7, 8, 8:1. Then God remembered Noah and all the animals and caused a wind to sweep over the earth, and the waters subsided. The rabbis asked, what did God remember? God remembered that God had created all of these creatures in the first place. So God wanted to make certain that every animal ever created during the acts of creation, those animals regenerated and filled the earth. The rabbis will say that human beings can possess merit, zechut, and please don't take this personally. Animals do not possess zechut. according to the rabbis. And I would disagree. The rabbis say that animals bring no merit forward. I had a difficult incident this past week, and my cat cared for me.
There you go.
And that means zechut. So there we go. Enjoy reading the Sedra. Donna Nadell raised her hand. I will always answer Donna before I leave. Donna.
Thank you, Rabbi. So bringing this whole situation forward to where we are today with climate change and these kind of mini floods that wipe out, people and things, and particularly animals. I mean, we lose a lot of animals in these natural disasters. What are the lessons from Noah that we bring forward to us as climate is changing? Like, it's partially our fault, that this is happening. This is man behaving badly, peoplehood behaving badly to the earth, not caring for the earth. I'm just wondering what the message is for us for today regarding the floods we're witnessing today.
You and Fern, thank you both. Okay, asking a question I can answer. I would like to refer interested people to the works of Rabbi Arthur Waskow, Waskow. As far as I'm concerned, he is the leading Jewishly educated, committed, traditionally committed scholar dealing with environmental issues. He is not Reform, he's not Orthodox, he's an environmentalist with a deep Jewish root. Arthur Waskow has written so much about the question you ask. Every time, like Tu B'Shvat and other times, but Arthur Waskow as a Jewish environmentalist, fabulous. The responsibility there's nowhere that the Torah says that no matter what we do, the earth will survive. Nowhere. In Genesis, human beings are appointed as caregivers. We have to define what that means. But we are perfectly capable of destroying all of creation. And there is no place where it says God won't let that happen. The scary part is that we've proven that to be true. The number of species that have been eliminated in the past 100 years, past 50 years, escalating numbers. I don't want to go into the sermon on this, but we are bringing about catastrophe. We're in the middle of it, and nothing will stop it. There's another part which you properly raised, Donna. There is a cycle of creation and death in all of creation, in all of existence. Death is built in. Death of life is not all human fault. It's part of the system. Is the word entropy? I'm coming to entropy, but I'm not sure it's the right one. It may be entropy, E-N-T-R-O-P-Y. This universe, cosmos, will not survive forever. The forever is millions of years in the future, but it won't survive forever. Death is built in. But in the context of a limited existence, limited over millions, limited existence, we human beings have the capacity to enhance or to destroy. And nothing can stop us. other than ourselves. Arthur Waskow, built-in death. Do you want to push a little bit, or are we going to be okay there?
I have something else, but it's 10:02 and I don't want to push everybody past the time.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the question. We are going to move into Kaddish. And again, let me say, what a joy it is to explore the text openly without being beaten over the head that that's not what's written. Thank you for that. And it's a pleasure to work with you. We are going now to Kaddish. I'm a happy teacher. Is that a problem? We mentioned those who have passed away during the past month. Rachel Avtalion, Shirley Baskin, Mark Cordova, Kenton Crooms, David Dragon, Norman Felsenthal, Jerome Jerry Franklin, Harvey Caden, Shuli Katz, Regina Kleiner, Ann Lauterbach, Gabriel Lobel, Philip Rubin, Larry Shulman, Joyce Slayton, Jerry Weiser. Yahrzeits that have occurred during the past week: Paula Almond, Arlen Howard Andelson, Bernard Bash, Richard Becker, Itzahar Dick Bega, Teresa Ruth Bell, Mura Ben-Gera, Jean Bennett, Ida Block, Richard Block, Maxine Bookman, Bernard Chapman, Laura Cohn, Irving Cohn, Sam Cordova, Donald Dischel, Annalie Dreyer, Philip Engel, Harry Ensler, Cynthia Pell, Stephen Fine, Mark Fox, Emma Friedman, David Fried, Bernard Gerard, Derek Gerson, Lisa Goldberg, David Goodman, Ira Gottfried, Albert Gross, Sidney Gutman, Anne Greenwald, Hale, Lewis Handel, Sally Hullum, May Eisenberg, Simon Jacobs, Jerome Jaffe, Elise Kahn, Harry Kaplan, Estelle, Esther Katz, Sarah Porton, Keith, Bertha Kunick, Kleinman, Bridget Krausen, Sarah Kurtzman, Jerome Leichtman, Francis Levy, Ida Lieberman, Linda Leiker, Samantha Mack, Patricia Malamud, Robert Craig Markowitz, Minnie Meadow, Esther Medina, Barbara Black Miller, Melinda Scheinkauf Miller, Helen Mittler, Richard Bruce Motley, Nicole Nyman, Carol Neustadt, Ellen Parker, Sherman Pasner, Harold Perleiter, Esther Pulvermacher, Aaron Reifman, Ira Ressler, Barbara Rich, Bernard Rodsky, Barbara Rowan, Ethel Rubin, Alan Ruvelson, Mary Schultz Blitzer, Ethel Sherman, Rose Seekoff, Melvin Singer, Edna Stein, Aileen Sweet, Richard Tallman, Samuel Taub, Joanne Jocelyn Troy, Joseph Chuchin, Louis Tuller, Robert Stephen Wegg, Renee White, Rita Yates, Louis Siff. I apologize for names that I have mispronounced. If there are names that you would like to add now, please speak their names aloud or speak them in your hearts. We bear in mind the names of all of those who died in defense of the United States, died in defense of the state of Israel, died because of senseless acts of terror and horror, those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. We join together for all of them. Yitgadal. Yitgadash. Shnei Rabbah. Bi'alma. Yikra. Irute. Bi'amlich. Ma'ofuseh. B'chayecho. V'yomecho. B'chaye B'chol. Yisrael. B'agalah. Ubizman Kariv. Amen. Yehei Rabba Vavarach Li'alam Li'almei Almaya Yitbarach Yitbarach Yitpa'ar Yitramam Yitnaseh V'yatadar, v'yataleh, v'yatalam,
Shemay, Kudusha,
Richu, Le'ela, All Birchata, V'shirata, Tushkatata, V'nechamata, Ta'amiran, Alma, V'imru, Amen. Yehei, Shama, Rabba, Min, Shemaya, V'chayim, Aleinu, Yalkol, Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Hoseh, Abraham, Yaseh, Aleinu, Yalkol, Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. May God, who makes peace in the high places, make peace in our hearts, make peace in our homes, make peace in the household of Israel, make peace among all the families and nations of earth, and let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Cindy, from strength to strength, okay? From
We love you,
strength
Cindy.
It's good to see you, Cindy.
And don't forget, current events, Wednesday, noon. Love you
Have
all.
a great week.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Bye, everybody. Love.
Hate to say goodbye.